Do you know anyone who's an engineer? Maybe it's a mechanical engineer who deals with building things with moving parts. Or maybe it's a chemical engineer who deals with, well, chemicals. There's basically an engineer that lives to fix any type of problem imaginable. In this video I'm going to talk about civil engineers and what it is that we do. Civil engineers primarily focus on those things that are the core of what we think of when we think of a civilization. Even within the discipline of civil engineering, there are a number of sub-disciplines, namely structural, transportation, geotechnical, water resources, and environmental. In each of these sub-disciplines, the tasks of the engineer boil down to quantifying or modeling the demand and designing a system to have enough capacity to handle it without failing. I'll give you some examples. Structural engineers are the most common kind of civil engineer. The typical problem they deal with is identifying how a particular structure will dissipate certain loads or outside forces exerted on the structure. They design the structure to withstand these loads. Structural engineers differ from architects in that they focus on the parts of the buildings you don't see. Think beams and columns here. They make sure that the building doesn't collapse and kill you, rather than just making the thing look pretty on the inside. The invention of the automobile in the 20th century has changed our civilization. Although this has connected us with each other like never before, it essentially created the need for a new type of engineering, transportation. Although humans have been building structures for millennia, we've only been dealing with intricate transportation systems that have the potential to kill us for a few decades. This makes the field of transportation engineering more experimental than the other sub-disciplines in civil engineering. Transportation engineering is also more than just about cars. There's an emphasis on sustainability in transportation systems, which means making it easier for people to get around without having to drive, like taking transit, walking, or biking. Just like an iceberg, there is much more to a structure than what's above the surface. We may not think about it, but everything that we build has to rest on something else. Everything is being pulled down by the Earth's gravity, and we take for granted that not everything is as stable as we may think. In the Bible, there's a parable of a wise man who builds his house on rock, and a foolish man who builds his house on sand. When the rains come, the wise man is safe and sound in his house, while the foolish man, who still built a decent structure, finds his house washed away. In this day and age, we are essentially the foolish man. Very few of the structures that we build are actually built on rock. In fact, we regularly build on stuff that's even less stable than sand. The job of a geotech is essentially to think really hard about how we can still be the foolish man and be safe. While shelter and transportation are important in maintaining civilization, water is essential in maintaining life. Water resource engineers design the facilities that allow users access to sufficient clean water. They work with water transportation systems, both drinking and wastewater. They also deal with the creation of man-made reservoirs, so if you want to dam the world, this is your occupation. Another branch of water resources is hydrology, which is studying the climate side of things. Hydrologists look at designing for the good and bad of what Mother Nature has to offer. These guys are the ones that make design specifications for what type of drastic storms can be expected, as well as how much seasonal rain you can count on a regular basis. Environmental engineers deal with all the nasty things of civilization. These are the engineers that recognize everything from everyday life creates an unpleasant side effect. But we probably shouldn't just dump everything into the environment. They deal with air pollution, water pollution, trash, rubbish, and garbage, sewage, and human waste. Because this is tied in so heavily with other civil engineering sub-disciplines, there's a lot of collaboration by environmental engineers. So there you have it. These are the 5 types of civil engineers. Of course, the line between these sub-disciplines is blurred. Like building bridges involves transportation and structures, while building a water distribution system requires water resources and environmental. What do you find interesting in the job of a civil engineer? Leave a comment below. If you learned something from this video, be sure to like and subscribe.